What is this? Today I'm going to be running through what I usually do as a gentleman when I'm wearing makeup. It's very, very simple. I would say it's subtle, but I mean, it's makeup on my face, so it can't be that subtle. So I'm going to do that today and show you guys what I do. Why do my cats always decide that it's time to poop when I'm filming videos? I've got my foundation that slightly matches my face. I like to use colors that are not quite in the tone that I've got. I like going a little bit lighter. It's just what works better for me and my tastes and preferences. And I like to use cream. It's a very high coverage. I don't like medium coverage or low coverage makeup. So what I do is I just take my cream, and you can literally do whatever you want. If you want to use like liquid or cream, or if you want to use the stick foundation, just what I do is I'll kind of get like just an even color across the area that I'm doing makeup in, and then I'll do all my chiseling and things from there. This hair is just it's not doing it. This bobby pin is not working. I only like to do makeup on the upper half of my face. I don't usually like doing it on the lower half because I feel like if I do makeup any lower than where my stubble already starts, I have to shave that day, and I don't like doing that. And then if I decide not to, I have to use a lot more techniques to make it not look like hair is popping out of the makeup, which I really find very unattractive. So I don't usually do makeup past where my stubbles are already growing. Even if I'm fully shaved, I don't really like doing that because I feel like you have to use different blockers and color techniques to make it not pop out throughout the day if you get 5 o'clock shadow, which I do. Or I have to use really, really, really heavy makeup in order to cover that, and I don't want to do that to myself. Okay, so now I'm gonna do all of my, what I like to call chiseling, which is just the highlighting and contouring. So I use a really, really stark color. Some of y'all are probably gonna just gasp because I'm using a stark white for my highlight, and then I just buff all that out with my normal color. But I'm gonna use my finger to apply it all. Normally I would just use my sponge, but I feel like I lose product a little bit with that. So I highlight right here on my nose, because I like that button straight down, because I like that good exclamation point. On the forehead, the arch of my eyebrow, because I like that good eyebrow highlight. And then right here, and then underneath my eyes here. And then now I'm gonna do my contouring with it's the same exact creams. I'm using all Ben Nye cream for this, which I say I don't want to use heavy makeup, and then I use Ben Nye. Ben Nye is pretty heavy, but it's very full coverage and I like the color. So this is for contouring my cheekbones in. And I like to do it just right above my stubble area. And then on my nose too. And then I like to do it at the very, very tip of my nose, just because I feel like it helps make it look like my nose is not going on forever. And then here, I like to carve out, my temples, I guess? I think it makes my face look thinner. And then up on my forehead, which I have a lot of forehead. It's like a 7 head. Oh, she's so pretty. So now it's time to buff all this out, and I'm literally just going to take my sponge that I used before, and I'm gonna get all this color incorporated together so that it's not in any harsh or stark lines. And I like to first do my contour and get that all buffed out, and then I do my highlight. You'll see it, it'll make sense. With my contour, I'm buffing it upwards and moving it up towards the top of my cheekbones. So I pinched my foamy pad here in order to blend all of my contour out. I'm just gonna use the tip of it now along with some of that bronze color so that I can incorporate my highlight in. And then I like having the darker color on here too mixed in with the highlight because it makes it all look very like fluid and natural. Woo. Okay, it's all done. So now before I set it and make sure that it's exactly what I want it to be with powder, I like to make sure that everything is exactly the way that I want it. If I need to, I'll go and color correct with my original foundation color. I'll use that to buff out some of the edges, but like, I'm pretty happy with how this all looks. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my neutral set powder, which is also by Ben Nye, and I'm gonna put that just all across my face. Now that I look like a ghost, it's time to brush away the excess parts, and then I'm gonna leave some of it to what I think is traditionally called cooking, but I like to call baking because I didn't go to culinary school, so I don't know any of that fancy lingo. So I've just got a regular fluffy brush. I'm gonna just brush out all of this so that it's all set, and then I'm gonna leave some to bake or cook, whatever you wanna call it. Emerald Lagasse can come and help you figure it out later. I like to highlight in particular the area right underneath where my temple is, and then I like to leave a lot on my nose because I don't really do much beyond the cream. I always like to get my contouring out of the way. I like to get that done first. So I've just got my Kat Von D Shade and Light Kit. This is literally my go-to. It's my favorite thing. It lasts forever as far as the contour goes. I blasted through the highlight. As you can see, I like fucking highlighting, but the contour lasts forever. It's gotten me through a very, very long time. So what I do is I just pinch a very, very small fluffy brush here. I get the lightest color, and then if I need to, I'll work my way darker, but I usually don't. I use the lightest color and use that to build up my cheekbones. I'll do that on my nose, and then the lightest color I'll use on my forehead. And then usually I'll use this middle dark color on my nose a little bit to kind of chisel it out. And if I'm really, really like in a mood, I will use this darkest color on my cheekbones, just so that it's all out of the way. Next, I'm going to use my Tarte In Bloom palette, which is just a really, really nice neutral color tone. I'm going to use this very, very light color on the inner corner of my eyes to kind of make them pop a little bit. I have really small, tiny eyes, so I have to do whatever I can to make them look bigger and more expressive because they have a tendency of just kind of going dead. And then I've got this really pretty beige color here. This is Flower Child, because it's fancy. And I'm gonna use that as my entire eyelid color. But it's gonna be really, 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 I guess the word is mild. I don't want my eyes to really like burst. I want them to be like subtle in a weird way. Since everything else is so cut, you know what I mean? And then I'm using one of the darker colors. I'm gonna use Jet Setter and Smarty Pants. And I'm gonna use that to do my cut crease. And then I'm going to use a little bit of this light color, and I'm going to do that right underneath my eyebrows too. So now I'm going to brush away all of this setting powder now. Do you ever just look at yourself and you're like, I am so fucking pretty? So now this is just a personal preference of mine. I like to, for kind of like the finishing touches on my face, I like to take just a little bit of blush. This is in a very like warm tone. It has a little bit of a shimmer to it, but I don't totally mind that. And I'm gonna take a little bit on my finger, pat it into where my contour is, and then I'm gonna buff all that out so that it's not too intense. It's just very, very subtle. Introduce just a little bit of pinkness back into my cheeks so that it makes it look alive. And that I'm not just this hollow, soulless creature from the void. Now, the final part is filling in my eyebrows, and my go-to for eyebrow filler is just this little e.l.f. palette. It's the smallest, cheapest, most inexpensive thing. It's like $2 at Target, probably even cheaper at Walmart. But it's got a brow gel in here on one side, and then it's got a powder on the other. I don't typically use the powder too much. I mostly use the brow gel, and I like the darkest color because it works best for my face. And I literally just fill in my eyebrows. I like to have a prominent wing at the end of it. I like it to arch out. I like it to have a sharp point. I'm not a huge fan of those typical like blocky eyebrows where it looks like you have a rectangle across your face and then it like edges out into a weird shape. I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of that. So I just carve out my eyebrows as a boy naturally, and the shape that works best for me. I've had bad eyebrows my entire life, and so it's been just a fine-tuning process of like figuring out what works best for me, and I finally got to a shape that I like. It's just, it does need a little tweaking. So I'm going to use this to fill in all of the spots. Whoa, look at the difference between filling them in and not. It's like completely different, like day and night. Naomi Smalls, Derek Barry. I don't always do all of these steps. I don't always go out in full face, but I will always do my eyebrows. So this is always my go-to. I was telling a friend once, because they were like, why do you fill in your, they caught me in the bathroom. I was at work and I was filling in my eyebrows and they were like, why are you doing this? And I was like, it's to make me look more butch. And then I realized as the words were coming out, I was like, I'm putting makeup on my face. Nothing is butch about this. If someone sees me with a full face of makeup, even just eyebrows, they're gonna be like, that's a mo. And remember with makeup that people can see you 365 degrees. They don't just see your front part of your face, they see your whole profile. So don't be afraid to like look in the mirror again and again and again and at different parts of your face from different angles and see if things look correct. Because if they don't, people can see it from that angle. They can see your profile. They can see this line that doesn't quite look right at my eyebrow. Like they can see all that. So make sure that you look not only good for any pictures you're gonna take of yourself, because who doesn't take pictures of themselves these days, but make sure you look good from every angle and not just from the front of a camera. And this is just like one of those drag queen tricks that I picked up in all forms of life, is that if I do makeup, I always like to set it with hairspray. It's just a personal preference. Some people like to use that, it's like a mist, and it makes your face look dewy. I don't like that. I find that it makes the product dissolve away. I don't like it. Also, I don't like that dewy look. I just don't. That is the end. That is I guess it wasn't even really a tutorial. I guess it was just more of like a walkthrough of my usual like day-to-day, if I put on makeup, if I'm not feeling like a lazy piece of shit. This is my usual makeup routine. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.